I come from a software and IT background. I worked in the Bay Area, US for a decade, and then worked in India as well in companies like General Electric, Cisco, etc. But in 2015, I've done an MBA from IIM Kolkata, and that's when I had a calling of what am I doing in some corporate world. Being in India, I was not feeling that I was contributing to the economy. That's where I explored the startup world, and I started working in market research space for startups. So on that journey, I had spoken to hundreds of startups to understand their idea, doing idea validation, doing some of the market research activities to do the competitive analysis or doing financial modeling, etc. And eventually I also got an opportunity to be on the other side of the table where I could also join an investment network. So I was part of Hyderabad Angels, and now I'm part of IIIT Hyderabad Seed Fund Group, where we do early stage startup funding. And along with that, my share of contribution comes to the society through Entrepreneur 90, which is a company I started to do consultation, and also I do a lot of free consultation to the students and contribute to the startup ecosystem. Thank you.
Now I request Vijayshankar Garu, who is co-founder of Vijayshankar Consulting, to brief about their activities.
I think Vijayshankar has been a consulting firm for a while, founded by my wife. She started that in 2011, primarily as a professor. She was in the academia for a while, for a long time. Then she started this, fundamentally starting the concept of training the entrepreneurs. And having various sessions and classes to make them understand what is business all about, what is risk-taking all about, what is business planning all about. I've been very fortunate to have been associated with 3 large groups in the Indian country, which is the Mahindras, the KK Birlas, and the Nagarjunas. In the last 20 years, I have been an entrepreneur in these groups, particularly in the agri space, largely in the Birla group, which is Zuari and Chambal, and Nagarjuna as the CEO and the managing director of these companies and at the topmost levels for the last 20 years. In our generation, we were told that customer is king, and we should do everything that is needed for the customer. From 20 years of experience in large corporates, I can say, employees are always the most important thing, because the multiplier effect of having a satisfied and a happy employee is far more higher than just having a satisfied customer. Because today, customer loyalty is not very easy to gain, because you don't blame the customer because there are so many options and varieties that is there for him. So I've joined my wife as to help her out in expanding a scope of training and activity. And with my white hair, I think I should be able to give some advice to some startups and businesses. So I've started the process of being associated with her. And this is a good opportunity for me to interact with all of you. Thank you.
VM is only a 2-year-old entity, but we would like to have a long journey with all our entrepreneurs, all the members whom we wish to journey through their journey of their enterprises. Ma'am, what do you think the new generation entrepreneurs are facing? What are the hiccups they face? And how do you suggest, or what are your experiences with the people you are mentoring? Can you share your experiences?
Sure. First of all, before I go into the topic, one thing I want to tell to all the women is that you should learn not to have validation from others to know that you are strong. You should look inwards to find that inner strength, and it's about the choices that you make, and sometimes the priorities go up and down. It's okay, but it's always an equal opportunity out there, and finding that inner strength to move forward is very important. And there are various techniques. I think meditation is one of the key. I personally do meditation, yoga and chanting every day, almost 90 minutes. And being closer to the nature helps you connect inwards to find that inner strength. And that has been a key element in my success, at least as a person, as a mother, as a professional, and maybe as a human being. I think the biggest challenge that the entrepreneurs face is on the business skills and the financial acumen. Our education system is so focused on STEM, which is more on the technical and building subject knowledge. If you see any education system or schools, I think you are ranked and then stacked and then you are compared, and students are so much behind earning those marks and standing up on the top of the stack. But in reality, once you complete your schooling, you are never a single person to success. It is your team. You have to learn to work with other members in your office or your co-founding team, and it's always a teamwork that really takes you to success. And that's where I see the current young entrepreneurs being failed, because I connect with most of the young startups founders or entrepreneurs coming out of college, and this is the first thing I see. They start on a very high note, but they don't sustain, because it's a solopreneur journey for a while, but later it's always a team or a teamwork that really takes them to the next level. And the second aspect is on the business skills. Always go into the market and really verify, is there a market for this? Can someone put the money on the table and buy my idea? And that is when you really need to look at it. And even then, don't put your entire energy down there. First build a POC, just test by doing a proof of concept, and then get the validation from the actual customers, the real customers out there in the market. Then you start building over it. And the third one is on managing money. First, we need to learn to respect money, because that is when you learn to value money. And as many rightly said, there's never a limit to that greed, right? But you really need money to progress in your business as well. So you need to learn to understand how to prioritize what is critical for you, and then learn to respect, save, and maybe grow the business and contribute to the society, because having that higher cause will really keep you going. Anything you do, try to find out the higher cause that really has to drive, be it from the humanitarian perspective, be it from the environment perspective, because if you don't have a higher cause, you will really stop somewhere in the middle, because higher cause will never die, and that is what will keep you motivating. And
Creating an enterprise is a challenge, yes, but making it sustainable is the bigger challenge where we have to work forward. Sir, taking your experiences or with the women, or whom you have led, or taking your wife also as a condition, how you see the growth of women entrepreneurship in the country?
I think you're all examples here itself. So I don't need to talk much about it, but having said that, the opportunities today the women are having, I think all you got to do is just take them on. And nearly every business segment is growing. And India has been a very fortunate country of having one of the most dynamic demographic profile right now. We have so many youngsters. In fact, we are called the youngest country in the world right now, because demographically, our age profile right now, average age is, I think, less than 30 or less than 35. This is going to sustain for another 10 to 20 years. So I think in terms, and also the people, and in terms of intelligence. And one thing I would like to say is there is absolutely no difference today between a woman and a man. I'd like to reiterate, which was there in the past discussed. I think opportunities are there equal. In fact, I would go to the other extent by saying that women are far more benefited today by the government policies, that you have so many government policies and funding which is exclusively focused on the women. So to that extent, I think this is the balance which is being tried to be created over a process of time. I think that is an opportunity for the women. And I think we have enough number of instances and examples today that there are opportunities there, and every new day comes with a new opportunity. And I keep saying one thing, all of us may be highly educated, but when you are in business, education has got lesser importance, especially our education, the Indian education, which is, I unfortunately come from that category. And I will say that, though I'm a chartered accountant and a cost accountant, none of these things helped me when I was in the CEO level. There's only one element which has always helped me. I would like all of you to guess that element. I would request anybody to guess that element. Yes, definitely. Experience always counts.
People and relationships.
That also counts. There's one particular word which we are aware of it. Definitely. It is very common. It is common sense. I keep telling my colleagues, my people in all the organizations, and even now I take some batches for some of these agri colleges in Manage and Millet Institute. I think the most important thing is common sense. How much ever education that you have does never and will never replace common sense. So I think that's so for a woman, and today I can also say that today the woman actually is more tougher than a man in terms of, especially those who are married, having to balance the family as well as the job requirements. But I think today there are a lot of support systems which are there, and that's why I see so many young ladies, and I see a lot of younger ladies wanting to get into the scenario. So I think the opportunities are tremendous. Every day is a new learning experience, and I think all you do is just seize it and go for it, as it is called. There's one army saying which I see in the Secretariat Club, and that's it. Bash on regardless, which I think is a very, very important statement.
So many sources to take the inspiration from. My personal thing is I take the inspiration from nature, because that's where, like, I see a tree and it gets chopped one day for trimming, but in few days you see the new shoots coming out, new leaves coming out. You see that, and then you know how to thrive. I think that's what you're taking the energy from the universe and then learning to thrive. So I take the inspiration from sun. I don't miss a sunrise every day. So there are various sources for you to learn to get inspired from. And one thing you need to learn to is to have gratitude. I think we always focus on what's not going right. We are always focusing on, this is not working, idi pan cheyatledu, ye nahi kaam kar raha hai. Lekin you always lose sight of what is going right as well is in your life. I think when you start focusing on that positive side of your life, on what are the possible things that are going right as per your expectations, I think that's when you learn to be more grateful and thankful and have gratitude, and you'll find a lot of energy through that method. I think I'm just sharing my personal experience. That's what works for me. I really take inspiration from the nature and find that inner.
It's the white hair and the white beard that is talking, so I have a little bit more experience than many of you guys put together. The message, I think, is available, and I think everybody has spoken about it. You just go for it. That's it. Just go for it. I think chase your dreams. Chase your dreams. In fact, Abdul Kalam also mentioned that in many of his, and one of the things which normally when he talks to the youngsters, particularly the school going and the college, is just have a dream and go for it. And I'm happy that there are quite a few youngsters around here, so have a dream. The traditional thing which our generation went through and many of the other generation also went through, of having, studying and then going for a job, the job-centric, job-seeker approach, I think, as one of the speakers very rightly pointed out. The younger generation today has got the infrastructure, has the social capability, social maturity to accept job givers. First, give the job to yourself before you start giving the job to the others. I think be a job giver, as he also shared with his experience. You can always go back. Experience counts. Whatever be the nature of experience counts. And that is the message. Go for it. Go for your dream. As long as it's, it has to be some sense of reality in that. There has a common sense even in the dream. So you just go for it, and that is what will take you forward. And every day is a new day. And as Madam also said, I think I'll coin a different word for that, which is fundamentally be a solution seeker rather than a problem definer. Problem definer is the first step towards solution seeking, because I believe fundamentally that every problem has a solution within it. So don't stop with just problem defining. Go to the next phase, which is the solution defining and solution seeking. That's all that the message that I need to give. Thank you.